There's a very interesting move going on now regarding the arrest of protesters at the coronation. Sir Peter Fye, who was a police chief in Manchester, has done a sort of pity me interview where he said poor police officers were left to interpret the law passed only a few days before the coronation. And on Radio 4, he said we'd see the consequences, particularly for poor police officers who have to make sense of legislation that was passed only a few days ago. The law could affect all sorts of protests in your local community, and this legislation could be used against you, and the police would be under pressure, poor police. The government have actually reduced the amount of discretion the police have in getting the balance right. So David Davis, the Conservative MP, had voted against changes to the Public Order Bill, but he said there's too many elements of the law that are too crude and broadly defined. What the government said was that it expects the police to come up with standards of behaviour. That's very woolly. If we're going to do that, we should do it properly, do it centrally, with the same level of democracy in the whole country. No one wants a day ruined, but the right to put up placards is virtually absolute in British democracy. Well, clearly it wasn't on Saturday. And the reason it wasn't was because of foolish legislation, which was passed by our government, foolish and unscrutinised legislation, a little bit like the small boats legislation, pushed through speedily, without proper concern, without proper inspection, by a Home Office that hasn't bothered to read its brief, by a Home Office minister who says she doesn't know anything about Rwanda's experience of killing people. You know, it's law after law after law, bill after bill, proposed by the Home Office, in whatever form, policing or a local security, or indeed the security of our borders. And one after the other, these bills are restricting our freedom in a way that is unreasonable and almost impossible to enforce. When the police take action, they are then condemned for the action that they've taken because it's questionable, because it's wrong, because it's not properly defined in law, because they don't really know what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing. The reason we're getting this bombardment of information at the moment is because the police are going to climb down. They've already issued an apology to the director of Republic, who was arrested, but that's Graham Smith. But there will be more apologies, I'm sure, to come. And this law needs to go back to the government to be seriously reformed if it's actually going to be workable. It's not workable at the moment. The coronation has proved that quite clearly. And I think it's going to be the same with the small boats, and it's going to be the same with a lot of the other rubbish coming out of Suella Braverman's office, because she doesn't know what she's doing. And I'm afraid the same sort of thing is going to emerge from Lucy Fraser and from the digital culture, media and sport, because again, it's controlled by somebody who doesn't know what she's doing, and has been for many years, as indeed has the Home Office. It's no good just putting in a minister who's going to look tough and pretend to be a sort of Margaret Thatcher lookalike. That's no good. It doesn't wash. You actually need somebody who's got the brain to deal with the issues, who can master the brief, who will follow what's going on, who will lead from the front, or at least respect advice that she's been given, and who will concentrate on their ministry, rather than constantly be on the media talking about other things to do with the Conservative Party. It's not appropriate. If you want to talk about the Conservative Party, you get the chairman on. You don't get the Minister for the Arts talking generally about the local elections. It makes no sense.